basically, you look at any study of high-performing teams, and they will be moving in a positive direction on every measure that's distinguished for high-performing teams. And as they go, they can begin to take on other best practices that they perceive as being important.
Right, and they include systems if necessary.
That's right.
Which goes through the same cycle of adaptation, experiment, and so on.
That's right. So you have somebody like me there as a consultant and facilitator who can say, hey, this thing that you guys are looking at there, I want to mention to you that there's a set of best practices around that other people have found to work well. If you're interested, I could do some training for you on it. Also, here are some resources you can look at. And so that team takes ownership of its own development process. And once it has truly begun to take ownership of its own development process, at that point you bring in the double linking with the rest of the organization. So at that point you begin to propagate the circle process in the teams that are reporting to this, propagating down. You invite those organizations to elect representatives up to this team, and whatever team is above this one, you elect a representative to go sit on that team. So presumably you already have management links down, although in some organizations like transition town groups, you might already actually have the upward links, and what you're needing to do at this point is to institute the management links.
And of course, with wider policy decisions, maybe once or twice a year, you bring in representatives of the community or all stakeholders, including nature, who can't actually speak for itself.
Yes, and this that is absolutely true, and there's some complexity there that I'm not sure we're going to be able to address.
But I just wanted to open it up as an area, for people to explore. But there's a lot of complexity there. And so it's only a once a year meeting or twice a year meeting, depending on the rhythm of that organisation.
Yes, and that is something that would generally happen through the level of the board. The board. It's the board's job to maintain the organisation in positive, high connection relationships with other parts of the organization's environment.
Further downstream in the journey of taking it into an organisation. But what you're saying is you do it in a way that's safe enough for that organisation and a good place to test it out and work it out.
The implementation process is itself an experiment.
And you've got to be with people who have got enough skills to actually adopt it and use it. And then from that it can spread out.
Absolutely.
And as people learn and get confidence in it.
And there are a huge number of obstacles that people run into. They are the same obstacles that people run into every day in their ongoing organizational life. There are personal politics. People are afraid of change. There are communication issues. All the kinds of things that you'd be familiar with from your organizational life. And that's why it's so important to do this gradual implementation and to do it in this order that I've described. Get authorization, start to do the circle process, adopt best practices as you go, and once you have that functioning, then begin to double link through the organization so that you have.
And then eventually outside the organisation, that's more complex.
That's correct. Eventually outside the organisation.
It has to be really embedded in the organisation first.
That's right. And you can do all of that fairly quickly if things are going smoothly, or you can take your time if you really need to
establish it,
work things out.
So I guess if people want to learn more, they can go to the Sociocracy website, which we'll have on, I'll type it up as part of this.
Yes, hopefully there will be links hanging about this video.
There will be links hanging around, sociocracy.info basically. And of course yours, Decision Lab.
That's correct, decisionlab.org.uk.
That's a UK organisation.
That's correct.
And then through the international network, they can look at case studies and things, particularly in Europe, rest of Europe or the United States and so on.
And I want to say that the Decision Lab website, that's our website. We offer consulting, facilitation, organizational change, training. But we are a professional organization. There's also a civil society organization for people who just want to trade stories about sociocracy and meet other sociocratic practitioners and organizations. And that is Sociocracy UK, nate.ning.com. And
right.
I'm sure you'll have the link in there as well.
Yep, that will be typed up as well. Nate, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing all this on my website and maybe yours and elsewhere if necessary.
It's been a pleasure, John. Thank you for having me.
Bye.